Hello everybody and welcome back to Biome Builds, the Minecraft building series where I take a biome in Minecraft and create a build inspired by it. My name is KashMuney and let's get started. This is episode number 2 and we are going to tackle the Jagged Peaks. The Jagged Peaks are quite an uncommon biome in the world, only found on top of the tallest mountains above the clouds. In terms of what you'll find, there's not much more than a couple types of ores and some goats. This is a very desolate and lonely biome, so I thought we would use that as some inspiration. I want to make a frozen tower perched on top of the mountain. I want it to feel powerful, sinister, strong up here. The person who lives here wants to be alone, and I want to communicate that with the build. I want this to be stark black in contrast to the gray of the stone and the white of the snow. I think that gives a bit of an idea. So let's get started, shall we? I guess we can start with our outline. I've done a little bit of work on this, just try to get the general dimensions figured out, so we can add that in real quick. I do like to use world edit when doing these types of builds. They just give me a little bit more freedom with the building and let me get a bit more creative with my ideas. I can try stuff that's really out there, and if it doesn't work, I can just undo it, which is really nice. Oh, but I add in my outline that I had planned, and this is really big. It just looks like this was placed on top of the mountain and it looks like it might just topple off, and we don't want that. I think we can make this work, but I'm going to cut off some of the mountain and lower this down a bit. All right, there's our terrain. Now we can lower the tower a bit. How does this look? Perfect. I like that so much more. And see, if I didn't have world edit, that would have taken forever to destroy that mountain and have to rebuild this entire thing. So yeah. Okay, so now that we have our big details figured out, we can start shaping this thing, making it feel like it's, you know, a frozen tower on top of this peak. And we're just going to add blocks here and there, not too worried about, you know, what everything looks like color-wise. We just want to get like a general shape going on. And you know, right now it's a bit hard to make out some of the details just because this thing is so inky and you lose a lot of like the shapes with the blackstone. So why don't we just change this to something a bit more visible? Maybe we can do stone bricks instead. Obviously this isn't what the final structure is going to look like, but it just helps us see the details and the blocks we add just a little bit clearer. And we can keep on working on the shape, just adding blocks, taking away blocks, trying to get something that feels like a continuous tower, you know, that starts wide at the base, narrows up, and then kind of widens at the top again. And the way I like to add details, especially to these round sort of builds, I will take a step back, identify areas that aren't looking too great, like that block right there looks a bit weird, so maybe we can add some walls right here just to kind of smooth out that surface, make it feel a bit more circular. And yeah, I just keep on zooming out, identifying an area that needs some work, adding some blocks, and repeat. That way we get something like this. And I always have reference images just to help me with the design process a little bit, make it just a bit easier. It's a very slow process, but we get there eventually. All right, I think that is our tower structure done. I love how this looks. I love how it just kind of flows from this wider portion to a narrow portion and then goes back out again for the top. So we have like the architecture done, but we need like windows, we need an entrance, just some of these smaller details that are important for any sort of build like this. Maybe we can do our entrance from the back, just like a little hole right here. And as for windows, we can just punch holes in the walls where it kind of makes sense. I mean, there's not too much of a method to this madness. It's just, oh, this feels right, we'll punch a hole there. Also, do you ever feel like you're making too much progress on something and you like don't know what to do? Like, I'm trying to get this build done in a reasonable amount of time, but I am going through it faster than I thought it would. Like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm like, do I just procrastinate now and do nothing, or do I actually get ahead and like work on this? I mean, I'm going to keep working, but I was not mentally prepared to do that. I don't know, it's silly, but I'm like, what do I do? Editor cashier, I ended up screwing around and taking much more time than I needed to. Oops. Anyway, here's a gradient I want to use for this build. Just pretty simple. Blackstone, blackstone bricks, polished blackstone, deep slate tiles, and deep slate bricks. So let's add this gradient to the tower. I'm just going to keep it pretty simple. You know, start dark at the bottom, get to light at the top. And to do my gradients, I like to divide the build up into even layers. We have like the darkest block and then the next one, next one, next one, next one. And that way I just have an idea of where I'm going to be placing everything. And then from there, I'll just start placing blocks at the bottom, work my way up. And once I get to like where a layer is going to transition, I will start adding in some blocks here and there. If say the transition's here, 2 blocks below, I might make a quarter of the blocks the bricks, maybe just under half of them bricks here, and then just over half of them here. I just want to have as smooth of a transition as possible. Remember, this is supposed to be made out of one type of material, so we want to make it look like that. Then I might sprinkle some blocks in the lower layers, just again to help with the transition. Okay, we got the gradient done. As you can see, I did end up dropping the deep sleep from the gradient. It just didn't look right on here. We still have the dark to light gradient going on, and I love this. This thing looks strong, scary. It looks cool. So anyway, this thing is looking awesome, but it kind of looks like a chess piece. I don't know. I don't play chess, but I don't know. It kind of looks like a king, I think, or a queen. I don't know. But we need to make this a bit more sinister. Maybe we could add some like spikes to the top. Maybe we could add like an accent color. I was thinking either we could do mangrove wood or some of the warped. I like the idea of the mangrove. Maybe add some red nether bricks just as a little bit of texture. And we could just add like little outcroppings, just kind of messing with shape here. Okay, I like this spike design. It breaks up the shape of the top a little bit so we don't have like a flat surface on top, but it's still interesting. Now, as to add some accents, that's going to be a bit tricky. It's always difficult adding a color to something so stark. Maybe we could just add some little bits of red here and there. Maybe like window covers. It could be good just to like add some fences going up the side. The purpose of these details is just to really sell the story and the vibe we're going for. If we can pull it off, it looks really good, but if we step over that line, it can look silly. So it's a fine line, but it can turn out really well. Like these vines are just too bright, so we're going to get rid of them. It's just always good to experiment. Like you might not always get something that works, but when you do, oh, it feels good. Like maybe we can add some chains holding something from the tower. So yeah, it's just a lot of trial and error. All right, there we go. We have some good decorations. I really like these red pieces right here. They kind of look like ribs on the tower almost. I don't know. It's just a nice creepy detail. I don't know what these chains are with the hanging blocks, but they look cool. They look kind of evil. They fit the vibe. So yeah, that is the exterior done for now. I'll probably work on it later, but for now, we can move inside. Or at least to what we're going to call our inside. It's not very much right now. Okay, so as we established earlier, the widest part of the tower is at the bottom. So we probably want to put the majority of our interiors at the bottom. Okay, so we can establish the floor of our tower. Maybe go a handful of blocks up to make the second level. And then at this point, we could either just do like a spiral staircase all the way up to the top, or we can add some more rooms. You know what? Why don't we just add some floor layers all the way up to the top? We could always add like ladders between floors if we don't have a ton of room. Wait, I have an idea. So we have this like frozen tower right now, but I was thinking, what if we turn it into more of a like secret villain's lair? I think that could be fun. Like we could have our first floor be like the meeting room with all these super villain bosses, and then we go up a floor, maybe have like the villain's lab. We go up, maybe have like the living quarters. Up, maybe some sort of like, I don't know, supply room or weapons room. And then the top, we just have a bit of a lookout. I think that sounds like fun. Let's do it. Of course, we need a bit of a stairwell to get to the next floor. So I'm just going to put that in first. That way we don't have to worry about it. All right, perfect. Maybe we can put our meeting room just somewhere in the middle. Don't want to make it too big, but big enough. There we go. All right, now let's add in some chairs that fit the vibe. Maybe we can go with the dark theme from outside a little bit. Just create these spooky chairs that look really cool. I am liking this. So I feel like we have the main details of our super villain meeting room done. We can start adding decorations. Maybe a nice light, maybe some like maps on the walls detailing the area, maybe some plans, stuff like that. Don't mind me. I'm just getting some maps of the area, which is surprisingly difficult and annoying to do. All right, and that's the supervillain there done. We have our nice table, maybe some map showing plans, maybe some notes of the supervillains, and then just like decorations here and there, a chandelier, and yeah. And if any sort of superhero comes in and you know steps on the wrong spot, they might just, oops. Yeah, that won't be too good. So yeah, that is our first floor done. And here we are with the second floor. Again, we have our staircase going up, but this is going to be our supervillain's lair. And I'm thinking just adding some like robot creation stuff and like, you know, kind of Dr. Doofenshmirtz making different innators that have some function, but who knows what. Oh my gosh, when I tell you, I had so much fun making this lab. It is so cool. When you walk right in, you see this robot right here. I used a custom armor stand generator. You can find them online. It's all vanilla. You just make your generator on the website, shape it to what you want, copy a command, paste it in Minecraft, and you can put some armor on it, and you have yourself a custom armor stand. But then I just have some like weird electrodes going into it, like it's powering this robot, getting it ready for its army. And then we just have like little, I don't know, primitive electricity modules that are helping power this thing. Maybe we have a vat of oil, a robot that is partially made, maybe some furnaces and other stuff for smelting the parts. And then I just wanted to stick with this kind of white/gray sterile feel, so I just added a lot of white trapdoors and yeah. Oh, and I guess I can change this handrail. So yeah, that is our laboratory. Let's go upstairs to the bedroom. And yeah, we don't have room for a staircase in here, so it is going to be ladders from here on up. But why don't we build this room together? It's not too big and should be pretty quick. Just looking at this, I realized I placed the ladder in the middle of the room, which is going to be a very prime spot for decorating, so we're going to actually move this over here. Okay, I was thinking maybe we could do like a bed over here, maybe a small kitchen right here. I mean, this villain has to, you know, make food somehow, right? Although maybe they have servants that do it, but we are not going to concern ourselves with that. And I'm just doing a pretty simple kitchen. I've done a handful of these, and it's really just like, you know, a stove, a little sink. We can add a faucet with a tripwire hook, maybe add some sea pickles to show that this is food being prepared or food left out. And I think it's always nice to add like an item frame with some shears or something, just as like a, I guess, holding your knives to cut up the food. But yeah, that's our nice little kitchen right there. Okay, and then in this corner, I say we put our bed. I mean, every supervillain has to sleep, so we can place our bed here. Maybe we have a little barrel acting as a nightstand with some candles. And whereas the rest of the castle is very sinister, I want this living area to feel more homey and like not so evil. Like maybe evil a little bit, but more in undertones. I want this to feel like somebody lives here and, you know, they're happy. Okay, so we're doing good, but we have nothing in the center. What could we add? I like the idea of a bookshelf wall. I'll always go for a good old bookshelf. Oh, I know what we could do to add some of this space. We need a handrail. We don't want our supervillain falling down the stairs. And this is always a good time to just add little shelves, little details here and there. Just add some stuff to fill the walls. Not worried about it too much. We could go for some eaten food in the kitchen. Oh, and you know what? Why don't we give our supervillain a cat? Wouldn't that be cute? I think our supervillain could use a little cat friend. I don't know about you, but I always find my cat on my bed or in my room or somewhere where she shouldn't be. By the way, I'm allergic to cats. Like, I can't touch her, but she's really cute. But anyway, I love this space. Okay, in our last interior room, we are just going to keep this nice and simple, make it a storeroom. And there we go. A nice little storage room. Very crowded, very packed. I added just a little bit of a maze, so it's not super easy to get through here. And just make it feel like junk has been stacked up here over the years, and it's really overflowing at this point. Okay, so that leaves our last room in quotation marks, the top of the tower. Let's decorate this real quick. All right, admittedly, there wasn't much to add up here. I just added a little floor. I also added a little lightning rod with some electricity going down, maybe to power the lab or the robots, something like that. And then just some barrels. But yeah, that was about it. I didn't want to get too crazy. I mean, this tower's already a lot, and you're not going to see up here too often, so I think this is okay. All right, so with the interior done, we can move to the environment. I'm thinking something pretty simple, maybe have a path kind of winding throughout the jagged peaks, and then just kind of integrate this tower into the terrain. I mean, as you can tell, there's not a ton going on with this terrain. Maybe we can make it a bit more interesting, but we're not going to do too much. Here's some terrain shaping, just creating a bit of a natural path coming from the tower. And you know what? It might be kind of cool to add like a little bridge kind of spanning like this canyon right here. A rickety bridge to get up to the villain's lair. I think that would fit nicely. Okay, here's our basic bridge. It's nothing crazy, just some supports really, but we have a nice little path going up to the tower. Now, speaking of our path, let's do that. I'm thinking we could do a path made of some basalt variants and some deep slate variants. It's a nice medium between the black of the tower and the gray of the surrounding. All right, there we go. We have our path leading up to the supervillain's lair. I like how it comes from like off in the distance, kind of meanders its way up to the tower, and then you get up here. Now let's work on texturing this environment. I don't want to do anything too crazy. I mean, just having plain white snow up here might be a bit boring, so maybe we can add, I don't know, some other white blocks, maybe a little bit of ice, just kind of show that like the effect of this tower being here has impacted the environment. I don't know, maybe we can just add a little bit of ice around the base of this tower, and then put some snow on top of it, and then just kind of transition it. You know, I think the ice introduces too many colors. We're going to get rid of it. But what we could do is texture the snow around the base of the tower to make it look like it's in shadow. I think that'd look pretty good. Right, there we go. Here's a little bit of a textured snow surface. It just adds to the fact we're on top of a snowy mountain while not taking away from the detail of the tower. Let's do it for the rest of the environment. So yeah, that is the environment done. As I said, it's not meant to stand out. Just try and show that the tower has an effect on the lighting around here, and I think we accomplished that pretty well. Pretty simple, but a necessary step in making our supervillain lair come to life. And you know what? Our old entryway wasn't really cutting it. It wasn't intimidating enough for the tower, so I changed it. And with that, we can call our supervillain's lair done. I love how this turned out, from creating the tower out of black stone and adding the gradients and extra red details, which created a very intimidating and evil exterior, to adding story to our supervillain's lair with the meeting room, the lab making all the robots for the army, our bedroom with a soft spot for a feline friend, overflowing storage room, and a nice little lookout. And of course, we have the environment just to make the tower feel like it's part of the world. The jagged peaks are quite a lonely and desolate biome, and I feel like we encaptured the feeling of that perfectly with our supervillain's lair. But everyone, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series as much as I am. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment for what biome you want to see next. I have some exciting ideas in mind, so get ready for the next biome builds. But with that being said, again, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.